Hello and welcome to Brewers Daily, part of the Fan Arch Podcast Network. I'm your host, Dave Gasper. Lots to get to here on a Tuesday show. It's been a very newsy past 24 hours here for our Milwaukee Brewers. We got Big Woo Day today. We'll talk about that coming up. A prospect extension, that to get to as well. But first, let's get to the move that's actually official, because that extension isn't quite official yet. But the Brewers have made a trade as well. Luis Matos is now a Milwaukee Brewer. The Brewers made the trade with the San Francisco Giants on Monday, acquiring Matos for cash considerations. Matos had been designated for assignment by the Giants, so he was available on the waiver wire. The Brewers made the move to get him here. Matos, a former top 100 prospect, had a great pedigree coming up through the minor league system, has struggled at the major league level, but he is a right-handed hitting outfielder, and being a right-handed bat, that is something the Brewers kind of could use right about now, with Jackson Chourio on the injured list and Andrew Vaughn on the injured list as well. So, I mean, you look at his career numbers. Luis Matos, a .231 hitter, has 15 home runs, 281 on base percentage, 650 OPS. So, again, not real great in terms of offensive output the past couple of seasons for the San Francisco Giants. 3 years there. His best season was his rookie year when he got called up, played 76 games, had a pair of homers, hit 250, 661 OPS, 13 doubles. So, I mean, that was probably his best year in terms of being able to get on base, and just has kind of played a little bit sparingly, being used more as a backup type guy, shuttling up and down between the majors and minors. So that put him at a little bit of a disadvantage, so he ends up losing his roster spot out there in San Francisco. He is out of minor league options, which is very important. So he will be joining the active roster here for the Brewers. He cannot be optioned back down. So Matos is going to come in here with Jackson Chourio on the shelf for 2 to 4 weeks. I would imagine that's going to be about the length of time that Luis Matos is on the roster. They needed some help here with right-handed bats, and he can play the outfield. He can play all three outfield spots. But once Chourio comes back, I would imagine Matos probably gets the boot, unless he really just outperforms everyone, and that forces Blake Perkins or Brandon Lockridge back down to the minor leagues. But for the time being, it's going to be Matos. And in terms of who's going to get moved off for his roster spot, because since he is joining the active roster here, he's going to have to take somebody's spot. My guess is it's going to be Jefferson Caro, just with him having get called up the past couple of days to be that right-handed bat once Vaughn went down. Being that third catcher, having three catchers is awkward to try and work with. The Brewers do want to get Caro regular at-bats, and it's going to be hard for him to get regular at-bats when he's the third catcher on the big league roster. He was able to get his debut in on Sunday, but in all likelihood, I think it's going to be Caro that ends up getting moved out once Luis Matos arrives in Milwaukee, which he should arrive today. It could potentially be tomorrow, but I would imagine Luis Matos is going to be activated here on Tuesday, and they got him the flight into town, and we'll be able to see him join this Brewers club. So him being a right-handed guy, very athletic player, as Matt Arnold talked to us about after the trade. So very excited for what he can do. And Matos has been a Brewers killer over the years. Whenever the Brewers have faced him, he has been freaking Barry Bonds, essentially, when he faces the Brewers. I mean, it is just absolutely stupid numbers that he's ended up putting up against Milwaukee. And Arnold kind of talked about this too. It's like, look, he kills us whenever we play him. So, if you can't beat him, join him. If you can't beat him, bring him over and have him play here for us. Luis Matos against the Brewers in his career is hitting .400 with a 1255 OPS. Pair of homers. I mean, he is 8 for 20 against the Brewers in 6 games. Just absolutely mashes against the Brewers. So get him on our side and see what he can do there. So Luis Matos joining the Milwaukee Brewers. Now we got to get to the real exciting stuff. Cooper Pratt has signed an 8-year, $50.75 million contract extension. It's got club options on it as well at $15 million per. Can bring the money up. And Cooper Pratt, the 21-year-old shortstop that has 3 games of experience at AAA, has now signed an extension. This has not been made official quite yet, but it should be made official soon. Bob Nightingale actually was the one who broke the news. Had it like 20 minutes before everyone else, which is somewhat surprising. But still, hey, I mean that's a great break there. But Cooper Pratt getting the extension. The Brewers have clearly identified him as a core piece of their future. They have 4 infield prospects, 4 shortstop prospects atop their farm system. They got Pratt, they got Jet Williams, they got Jesus Mate, and they got Luis Pena, and they have extended Cooper Pratt. He is the first one. Could there be more? We'll talk about that. But Cooper Pratt gets extended. So what does this mean? Looking at roster construction, I mean, we are 4 games into the season now. For them to have done this, I mean, it is very early. I'm not surprised that they did this. I like that they did this deal early, in a sense. I like getting these extensions done. Like you identify good players, you extend them. I like that. I think that's very important for the Brewers. They did that with Chourio. Fantastic. I'm glad they're taking this route again. I am a little surprised, though, that they did it this early. That they are 3-4 games into the season and they have locked up Cooper Pratt, because that kind of puts the pressure on when are you going to call him up? Because that's really going to be the question now, because prior to this, it's like, okay, you got Joey Ortiz at shortstop. He's playing great there defensively. Let's see how it goes offensively for him. And so far, through the first couple of games, Joey Ortiz has looked pretty solid offensively. So that's a positive. It was against the White Sox, but still. So it's like, okay, let's just kind of see how it rolls with Joey Ortiz there at short. You give him 2 months. If he's really struggling again, then maybe you go to Pratt. You got Rengifo and Hamilton over there at third base. It's like, okay, let's kind of see how that goes. You also got Brock Wilken there at AAA. You got a couple of other options that are more regular third basemen. But Cooper Pratt is such a stud defensively at shortstop that they have identified, okay, this is going to be the shortstop of the future. I think certainly this spells kind of doom for Joey Ortiz's future in the organization. I'm not sure when that doom is going to come, though, but I would imagine it would have to be fairly soon, right? Because you don't sign this player to a deal without expecting him to be coming up fairly soon, right? I mean, now that this deal is done, there is going to be pressure on the Brewers to call up Pratt, because you're paying him big league money. You don't want to pay him big league money to play in AAA. That's not the point. You know, maybe they were simply surprised at how quickly the deal came together. Likely they were talking throughout spring training and talking about a deal here. And, I mean, as soon as Pratt's like, okay, yes, I'll do it. I'll sign that. I mean, you got to get it done. You can't be like, okay, now let's wait until May in order to make something happen. You can't do that. That's not going to work. So you end up making this deal now, and this does put a lot of pressure on Joey Ortiz. It puts pressure on the Brewers to call up Pratt because, again, you're paying him this much. Even though it's very team friendly, provided Pratt continues to play well, it's going to end up being team friendly. But when you have that extension signed, there is going to be pressure on the team to call him up. I'm not sure if it's going to be right away. I would think you'd still need a little bit more time in AAA. I mean, even Jackson Chourio got 6 games of AAA ball. At the time here, Cooper Pratt has had 3. And Chourio also was more of a sure thing with the bat and dominated the AA Southern League quite a bit more. Cooper Pratt was solid last year. And again, the Southern League is very pitcher friendly. It is not very friendly to hitters at all. But still, Jackson Chourio did really, really well down there and got 6 games of AAA experience. Cooper Pratt is at 3. So, I think he would need a little bit more seasoning, but I would imagine within probably a month here, you're going to see Cooper Pratt, because now that that deal is done, like there's going to be like, okay, let's bring him up here and let's roll with him, and see what he can do. I'm not sure I don't think it's going to necessarily be today that he's up. It could be, but I'm not expecting that. But once it gets done, there's going to be kind of a okay, when are we going to see him, kind of deal until we do. So I think the timeline that we were originally looking at for Cooper Pratt, when he would arrive this year, we were looking at probably mid-season, and it would be dependent on Joey Ortiz and how he performed. Now, that has moved up. That timeline absolutely has to be moved up. I don't see how they cannot view this as moving up his timeline. So we'll see what they end up saying once this move is made official. We're able to talk with Matt Arnold about it and Pat Murphy about it. Pat Murphy, speaking abstractly about Cooper Pratt, just says, hey, really good baseball player, like his aptitude, his work ethic, great person. What's not to like about Cooper Pratt, and very strong defensively at shortstop. So, we'll see what Matt Arnold says when we get a chance to talk with him about this deal getting done, and what the timeline might look like for seeing him. But whatever the timeline we originally thought was, that has been moved up. I think there's no doubt about that. So, and also one of the questions, besides when are we going to see Cooper Pratt, that people have been asking is, okay, who's next? All right, you get this extension done, great. A lot of Cooper Pratt fans out there, as there should be. Seeing this deal get done, fantastic, wonderful. What next? Is it going to be Bryce Terang? Is it going to be William Contreras? Is it going to be Jesus Made? That's really kind of the question that people have been asking. So really, I think in terms of the big league roster, Bryce Terang is obviously the extension candidate, but I think they might have been too late for that one. I think the Pratt or the Terang extension probably should have been done a year ago at least, and they did not. So now with the price tag, it may simply be too expensive. That could change if we get a cap and floor system, perhaps, in my mind, but we don't quite know. Contreras, I think that ship probably sailed as well in terms of the big league roster. And then just looking down at the farm system, because if the Brewers are looking to extend some of their prospects and extend them early before they make their arrivals in the majors, I think Jesus Made would obviously be the next best choice. Made, probably you're still a year away from that. I think you're going to see what he does in Double-A first, and he kind of follows that Churio timeline. And provided that Double-A goes well for him, the Brewers can talk to him in the offseason, try and get that extension done, and then you can see Made make his debut at 20 years old next season. I think that's more likely the timeline there. I don't think we'll see a Made extension this year, but that could be who they're targeting next in terms of this line. But the Brewers have clearly identified Cooper Pratt as their dude. And especially with him defensively at shortstop, that they just rave about him over there. So that could move Made to third base, could move him to second base. Who knows where he'll end up playing, but what we do know for sure is that Cooper Pratt is going to have a spot on this roster. He's going to have a spot on this infield somewhere, whether it's short, whether it's second, ultimately third. I mean, he's got the throwing arm for third. We'll see if the power develops, but I think that's what you're looking at. You're looking at potentially Made next year. In terms of right now, I think they should extend Terang. The best time to extend him was a year ago. The second best time is now. Because if you wait any longer, that price tag is only going to keep on going up. So they still have several more years of Terang. So we'll see how they end up wanting to work this middle infield. But this also could explain why they were so willing to trade Caleb Durbin before the season here. We thought, okay, maybe another year to clear spots for these prospects, for Cooper Pratt, for Brock Wilken, for Jet Williams, all those guys, give them another year. But the Brewers clearly feel Cooper Pratt is much closer to the major leagues than a lot of us may have thought. So that could also partially explain why they were so willing to move Caleb Durbin right before spring training here. Maybe they were getting some traction on Cooper Pratt and some talks there. So that's what's potentially up next here for the Brewers. And what's also up next today is Big Woo Day. It is Brandon Woodruff on the mound today, making his season debut. Thought for a while that he was going to be the opening day starter. Instead, they want to give him a little bit more time to build up, and he ends up being the 5th starter in the opening rotation. And he gets to start today against the Tampa Bay Rays. So he had his last build-up start, a simulated game in Nashville last week on Wednesday, right before opening day. And now he is back, and he is going to be ready to go for this start. We'll see how many pitches he's able to go. We'll see how long he's able to maintain his velocity. I know in his last spring training start, he struggled in that 4th inning range. Starting to see the velo dip to 88 miles an hour on the fastball. So really kind of dropped down quite a bit, but all part of the build-up process. So hopefully with that sim game, he made more progress there, and now should be even more ready to go for this game. We'll see how many innings. I'm not expecting more than 5. I think you're going to see five innings at the most for Woodruff, and then you go to the bullpen from there. And just kind of see how that build-up continues to work for him. But it's Big Woo Day. The Brewers, their winning streak to start the season has come to an end at 3 with a 3-2 loss to the Tampa Bay Rays on Monday night. So that stinks. But get a chance to get right back on that horse with Brandon Woodruff and get him going and get this team back going again. And the Brewers just trying to stay on top in that division. We're 4 games in. And we got Game 5 coming up today, and Big Woo on the mound. We got a new outfielder joining the team. We got a prospect extended. It has been a very newsy first couple of days here for the Brewers regular season, and we're breaking it all down here on Brewers Daily. So be sure to subscribe, get notified every single time a new episode drops every single day throughout the week. Also follow me on Twitter at dgasper24. Got lots of great content going up there from the ballpark every single day. Talking with Pat Murphy, Matt Arnold, the players, all those guys. Got lots of quotes, lots of content up there. So follow me on Twitter at dgasper24. And appreciate you watching, appreciate you enjoying, and we'll see you again next time for another episode of Brewers Daily.